if Deshaun Watson gets suspended or put on the commissioner's exempt list, and Baker Mayfield is somehow removed from the roster of the Cleveland Browns, would the Cleveland Browns make a trade for Jimmy Subway, Jimmy Italiano,
Jimmy Cold Cuts,
Nana,
Jimmy Gabagool, Nana? What? Wait, what? Deshaun got suspended, and then they've got Jacoby Brissett, but he backed up Jimmy.
He's a backup.
He's backed up Jimmy in New England. It was Brady. It was Jimmy, and it was Brissett. So my hypothetical, and those aren't outlandish. Those are plausible, right? What are you hearing? Is Deshaun going to get suspended? Commissioner's exempt list, something? And if he misses 8, 10, 12 games, would you? And they trade Baker. Would you trust Baker to be your backup? Would he do the job? So if say Deshaun gets 12 games, he comes back, Jimmy could make it 9-3 versus 3-9. Wouldn't they do that? So could the market change, and specifically Jimmy Garoppolo go to Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski and the Haslams?
Well, we have an added hypothetical, I think, with another Jimmy trade that's a pretty good one. But with that one, my only question would be, he makes $27 million. So are they asking him to take a pay cut to facilitate the trade? And
Baker's gone, so 18-6 gone.
Yeah, but it's still a $9 million swing. It's still a lot of money. Like, to me, the suspension, I've been telling people, I think they could suspend him a year. It's just like an FU. Like, you've dragged our name through the mud, the league. This has been a bad deal.
Not like Jimmy Haslam has a ton of equity, right?
Yeah, the way they set up the salary, was like, you could spend him a year, it doesn't matter his money. So it's like, okay, you want to see us spend him a year? I could see that, and maybe Parag and the guys kind of know that and are hoping because he fits the offense. But but I still think if they give him 8 games, he would have to take a dramatic pay cut for them to facilitate it, to me. Because then Jimmy, but then Jimmy would just be cool with, like, I just get, obviously Deshaun's better than him. He just goes to the bench.
He doesn't have much. What's he going to do?
No.
I mean,
then the Browns flip. The Browns flip
$5 million. He's got to go where he's traded.
Then the Browns flip him at the trade deadline.
That's his offense is that's Gary Kubiak.
Well, that's where we get the other hypothetical of the Carolina Panthers.
Okay, so you don't like my hypothetical? What?
I don't hate it. I just
yeah. Before you get to the next one, John, hold on. Before you get to the next one, though, just do the Browns then flip Jimmy at the deadline?
Depends on Deshaun's suspension and where we're at.
And what are the Browns trading the Niners? Are they giving them a 3rd-round pick?
Well, if you want to save the year, I think Cleveland with Deshaun Watson on it is a Super Bowl. The AFC's loaded, so it may not turn out that way, but that's a really good roster. If they lose Deshaun, and I'm not going to trust Baker to be the backup now. He's pouting like a child.
Yeah, he can't.
Whether they move him, cut him, trade him, whatever they do, they'll move him around the draft, something. Brissett's a nice player, but I think he's a 1 or 2 game stopgap. And I heard Stefanski going on and on about him. He's a great backup. Yeah. He's a great backup until you have to play him. And Jimmy's a better player. We all acknowledge that. I mean, that could be the difference of coming out of the Watson suspension, exempt list, whatever takes him off the field, with a chance in November, to go make the playoffs and win. So I think that's, I mean, where do you get me on the hypothetical? That's
no, I don't hate it.
Isn't that plausible or possible?
It just seems he makes a ton of money. Now, Jacoby doesn't make anything, and neither does Watson.
You can move the money around. You can make the money work.
Yeah, and by the time we get to the end, of the preseason, if the Niners are in a position where no one's acquiring Jimmy for $27 million and they're going to cut him if they have to before guaranteeing his contract, then you're Don Yee. You're not going to get $18 million on the open market. You take a $10 million.
But suspensions usually kick in week 1, right? So you would want Watson to practice because he hasn't played in forever. So does Jimmy? They split reps in camp. How does that work?
Well,
That'd be tricky.
And then, if he fights these civil lawsuits, maybe not all 22, but he fights some of them, then is Goodell paralyzed until those are somehow resolved? Do you have to, if he pays one off, is that enough of an admission of guilt? And then what evidence do they have? So he could either expedite it or delay whatever punishment's coming his way by how he and Rusty Harden choose to handle the civil suit. So I don't know. I mean, that's just something I'm thinking about where the market is. I don't see Jimmy going really anywhere else.